This episode of Off My Shelf contains coarse language and adult conversation. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, my name is Tracy James and welcome to Off My Shelf, a podcast about movies that are, well, off my shelf, where we go through my DVDs and talk about the movies in my collection. In this episode, Mike Suderman joins me in talking about two sci-fi films with Men in Black and Minority Report. Welcome!
Hi!
Thank you for coming back on.
Woo!
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
You always pick the super nerd episodes and it's always great.
These are some of my favorite movies, so I'm so glad I got to talk about them. It's so good.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna start. You're gonna start with the descriptions and stuff, but I watched Men in Black earlier today. Last week they had a Men in Black marathon on TV, so I watched it then.
Ooh.
And to be honest, I still had the same joy, even though I watched it so close together. It's fine. Yeah. So I'm also very happy to be here with talking about these movies. So it's good.
Yeah. I had like as a kid, I had it on VHS, and it was one of those like you just put it on movies. So we would just watch Men in Black all the time, and I loved it. I would watch it had the Men in Black rap music video at the end.
Yeah.
It was good stuff, and it really holds up. I don't like I can't not watch it without like quoting all of it and just like loving the hell out of it. I love tiny little Will Smith. It's great. Yeah.
No, I absolutely agree with you because technically today I put it on and I did the dishes and I cleaned and everything. But it was one of those things where I'm like in the other room listening to it and I'm laughing and then the joke happens. I'm like, I didn't actually need to watch it. This is something that's like imprinted in my brain.
Yep.
So I'm not too worried about it. There weren't very many like details or anything that I was like, oh, I've never seen that before. I've just seen this movie way too many times. That's all it is. I've just seen it too many times. Or is that such a thing?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a movie that's like worth rewatching. It's so similar to your experience. Like I put it on and my wife Leah was like, oh, maybe I'll like work and do things in the background, and she like comes like 10 minutes in, she's like on the couch watching it with me and we're quoting it. It's just a delight. I don't know. It is. From the opening with the like super cool Danny Elfman mystery music, and then just like the bug we follow the bug all through the opening credits, and then just squash.
It is a great opening. It so is, yeah. And that's the thing with like Danny Elfman music. His music, every movie you watch that has him score it is very different sounding, but you always know when it's Danny Elfman. Like, even if you've never looked it up or whatever, you just hear, 3 bars of it and you're like, is this Danny Elfman? This has to be Danny Elfman. You look it up, it's definitely Danny Elfman. Like, he's just has this like feel to all his music that's mysterious, but upbeat and fun. And it just makes you feel good, even if you're supposed to be like scared or something, like it's just good. It's just good stuff.
Yeah, and just like a little bit weird. Like it's like, hey, this is like even with the Simpsons and stuff, it's like, hey, this is a little bit of a skewed view of reality, right? Like, music catches it really. His music catches that really well. Though, speaking of the music, one of the things we were really noticing last time, so we watched it last night, was how little music there is in the movie. Like it's very important when it's there, but there are so many scenes where it would be so easy to put like so like one example is when Agent J goes he's being introduced to the office for the first time, and the like little flubber thing
goes bouncing around.
There's zero music to that, whereas like you could imagine like a lesser person would like, oh, we gotta spice this with all sorts of wacky cartoon music in the background, right? Like it was very cool to see that be happening, but there's like no music. All of the people at the desks are just like stone faced, just moving out of the way if they need to, but otherwise like totally unimpressed by this disaster happening. And so like it not only is it like cool when it makes the music more impactful when it does show up, but also it, like, to me at least, it conveyed the kind of ordinary extraordinariness of the universe, where it's like, oh, this isn't even something that they would talk about after their day at work, right? Like so much weird stuff happens in the Men in Black HQ that, like, this thing that's totally embarrassing to Agent J is just like, oh yeah, another day at the office. Like, no music needed. It's not really a joke. It's just
Yeah, I think one thing they do really well in this movie is their sound design in general, because in that scene, yes, it's like, once you said it, I realized, oh my God, there is no music. But then you think about the scene, and because they're in like a quote unquote airport, quote unquote, they make sure to fill the scene with sound,
yes.
With like chatter in the background, all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't it's not too loud, it's not too big, it doesn't, overshadow the scene. And it's just enough for you to be like, not notice it's silent, but also feel like you're in that space. So it works really well. Yeah,
like another great example is the fan in the entrance to the MIB thing, right? You walk in and it's just that boom 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 boom. Again, no music, but just like oppressive giant. Why is there a giant fan here? We don't understand. It's like,
yeah. Well, because doesn't it say it's like a waterworks or something?
Yeah, some nonsense. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's supposed to be like the air intake for the entire subterranean, complex. Who knows? But maybe just the idea that there's like, anyway, it's cool.
Yeah, I'd hate to be that guy who has to sit in front of those fans all day, though. I think he's got to have like earplugs or something, because you go deaf.
Or he's like some kind of weird alien, right? Like
that's true.
Got maybe the whole fan is just like a backdrop to keep his living whatever his life support online.
Imagine. Yeah, he comes from like a super windy planet, and if like air isn't forced into his body, he dies. So that's why he sits there all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it. That could totally work.
Yeah.
I mean, there's weirder things in there, so it's fine.
Exactly. And all he has to do is, when Will Smith says, "This dude gave me this card," all he has to do is say "elevator."
Exactly.
It's like when random people wander in, you check, and if they're not, shady, you point them to the elevator.
Right? Yeah. I think it works. I think he's doing a great job. He's doing a fantastic job out there. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Protecting the secrets of intergalactic commerce and business and politics.
It's like you ever see the movie Casablanca? It's like that, but no Nazis.
Okay, so I had to make a note about that, because I still don't get that reference, because I still haven't watched Casablanca, and I'm like, all I know is there's a bar and there's some Nazis. I don't know anything else about Casablanca.
Fair enough. But Casablanca is also a real place.
Yes, I know. It's a real country.
That thing actually happened. So the movie is set in the time. Anyway, the point is, it was kind of like a place where people were smuggling themselves outside of Nazi-controlled Europe, right? Mm-hmm. It was like a mixing pot where things were a little bit more like permissible, because it was like it was a bit of a neutral zone, technically. Still, anyway, doesn't matter. But the like it wasn't actually a neutral zone, but the Germans, the Nazis, couldn't like enforce a lot of control there, so it, there's a lot of shady stuff going under the radar. And so, similar to Earth, where the Arkelians are hanging out, but also bugs are able to land and things like that, where it's just like this isn't the Arkelian Empire, this isn't the Bug Empire, this is just like, a weird little backwards planet where people who have been like kind of displaced by the war can just chill.
See, look how much deeper this movie is already. Look at that. Look at that.
Boom.
God, I wish I was better at history. That's all I can say.
There you go.
I really suck at history.
You know what? It's just a bunch of people trying to kill each other, and then they didn't, or they did, and that,
And some people didn't die, or something. Yes.
By definition, not everyone died. Yes. Knock on wood.
Yes.
At last I saw, they are launching rockets near nuclear power plants in Ukraine. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully this recording at least gets edited and sent out before all life on Earth ends.
Yes, exactly. That would be good. I don't even know.
You know what? You need to set reasonable goals for yourself, and I think that's a reasonable goal.
Okay, done. That is a goal I can get through. Yeah, I can do this. I can do it.
Awesome.
I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Going from like the kind of controlled area, it's still crazy to me that the opening scene involves the illegal migrant smuggling. Like even though I know that every time I've seen this a billion times, it's just like, it's crazy that in 1997, whatever that this movie was, it's like, it's so much more. This was before Department of Homeland Security. It was just like, I don't know. I feel it's weird that was like the thing that they chose to start this movie with.
Well, I think it was just supposed to show how ridiculous it is, saving people. What does he say? Saving people from the dangerous aliens. Yeah. You're just like, maybe these aren't the aliens you should be scared of. And I think that's kind of what they're getting at. But I think it works really well in the overall scheme of the movie. It puts you in a very specific place. You're just like, people are smuggling aliens and it's illegal. And there's these police guys who are supposed to stop them. But on another level, there's quote unquote, or no, not quote unquote, real aliens that also need this kind of control as well.
They the term extraterrestrial.
Extraterrestrials, yes. ETs. Yeah, I don't know. Did they change what they call UFOs now? They call them something else now.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
I don't understand what's wrong with unidentified flying objects. I think that's about.
I think it was correct. More to be like not yet. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, I saw that or I heard about that, but I don't know anything more than that. But I think that they were trying to like reduce the mystery, and I don't
understand why you'd want to make UFOs less interesting. They're interesting. Just leave it. Like, it's fine.
No, but the people who like the Navy wants people to stop asking about UFOs, I think.
Just because you rename a UFO is not gonna stop people from asking about UFOs. Like, that's like saying, Kentucky Fried Chicken doesn't sell fried chicken because they're KFC now. That's just dumb. Like, no, it's.
I agree with you, but the thousands and thousands of people employed as marketers potentially disagree. I don't know.
Yeah. Was it like the SETI people or something who put it out there? They're like, we're trying to rebrand ourselves. Not to be so idea. Like creepy and weird. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah. I mean, no, they did call it UFO. Yeah, that would have been way before they changed the name. Because they only changed the name within the last 10 years, maybe, or whatever.
I'm looking it up. UAPs.
What does that stand for?
I'm not sure. What is a UAP?
Is it still unidentified?
Unexplained aerial phenomena. So it doesn't. Maybe it's not an object. Maybe it's just a thing in the sky. We don't even know if it's because.
But an object is a thing, a phenomenon of some sort.
Yeah, exactly. But a phenomenon doesn't have to be an object.
That's true. I guess. So did you see Nope as yet?
Yes.
Oh, loved it. I guess that would be considered a phenomenon for sure, instead of just an object.
It was a phenomenon because it was an excellent movie, and so it's a cultural phenomenon.
It is also a cultural phenomenon. Yes,
as well as an aerial phenomenon.
I was like, you know, at the beginning of the movie where they showed the chimpanzee, or was it it was a chimpanzee, right?
The beginning of Nope, not the beginning of Men in Black.
Yes. Okay. The beginning of Nope. And like, I was just sitting there for like a quarter of the movie going like, how are they gonna mix this into the rest of this? Yeah. Like, what are you doing? And this is the fantasticness of his style of storytelling. It's these pieces that don't seem to go together in any way, shape, or form, and then they suddenly do, and you're like, what?
Yes.
Oh my God. Fantastic.
No, it's a good movie. Yeah.
Just like this one. This one's also very fantastic. Men in Black, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so efficient, right? Because like in terms of storytelling, it's like it starts out with a bug that like gets one. It's like a goddamn bugs is the first line, which is glorious because that's what we end up spending the entire movie trying to thwart. But also that we've come in super focused on this dragonfly. It's like zipping around. It has like little adventures where it dodges a windshield and like all this other stuff. And then it's just like gets squashed, and then we zoom out, and then it's like, oh, right, the bug is nothing. It's totally insignificant, which is mirrors the end shot, which is like the zoom out of the Earth, and like we're just in the tiny like galaxy marble for the super aliens.
Yeah, it always makes me wonder, you know, the marbles we have little swirly stuff on the inside. Yeah. That might be a galaxy and we just don't even realize it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's like fundamental physics, like people have actually looked into this shit, and it's not possible. Like there are, you know, the smallest, you know, objects are thing, but I don't know enough about science to know anything about that. So
that's just based on our perceptions of space and time, right?
Okay.
So you don't know.
Okay.
Like, I am not saying science is wrong. I'm not saying I believe in science and research and all that kind of stuff. I get it. But there are fundamental questions that still haven't been answered. So it is still open that someday you might find out, ooh, maybe there is a tiny galaxy in here. Ooh.
Who's to say? Who's to say? This very silly movie from 1997. That's who's to say.
But I mean, it is one of those like things where, well, I mean, like, especially the late 90s and early 2000s, it was very much there was like fear of like aliens and computers like destroying the Earth, like taking over. And this was just one of the few that was like much more lighthearted in that aspect of it. It's like, no, they're not going to come take over everything. What we're going to do is we're going to work together with them and make sure everything is okay. There's going to be bad aliens and good aliens, but everything is technically fine. Whereas a lot of the movies that were coming out at the time was like, aliens are coming to eat us and kill us and blow us up and destroy us. Independence Day. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Another Will Smith thing. It's just they were coming here to exterminate us and take all of our resources. I think that's what it was, right? Yeah.
Something. They were gonna blow up all of our monuments for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing they have to do.
You got to destroy the monuments.
Yeah, the only monument in this movie was the Guggenheim. No, and they showed the Twin Towers as well, but nothing got destroyed. So.
Just as part of the skyline. But then I don't know if this counts, but the UFOs at the World's Fair.
Oh yeah. I do find it interesting though that usually like all of these like alien movies and stuff like that, especially when it goes to like conspiracies and everything, they always start at like Roswell in the 1940s, whereas this one's like, no, World Fair in the 1960s. That's where we're starting. And I was like, I'm okay with this. This is fine.
Yeah. No, it's a good it's just like a little bit different, and it's a little bit more fun, and it just what's great is it like introduces that like insignificance, like it, almost existential insignificance, to like every element of it. Like I love the speech about like uh when when Agent J fires the noisy cricket for the first time, and um he gets yelled at by Kay, and then it's like, oh, but there's a Arkellian battle cruiser up there. It's like there's always an Arkellian battle cruiser or an intergalactic plague or like this and that, and like it's just another day at the office. It's like it would be great if we could save the Earth, but ultimately it's better to blow it up than to let the galaxy fall into the hands of the bugs. That's what's important.
Yes.
Earth existing isn't actually that important in the universe of the movie.
The grand scheme of things. Yes.
Yeah. The only reason it's important is because we live here and we care about it. And that's, anyway, I like that.
Yeah, and no, it's true. I mean, it even goes back to when he first recruits Jay, and Jay's sitting there going like, well, why don't you just tell everybody people are smart? And they're like, no, a single person is smart, but people are panicky and fear mongering and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we see
dumb,
it all
panicky
the time.
Animals. And
I mean, we see it all the time right now, especially with like the pandemic going on and war going on, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's got like a conspiracy, or everybody's got like, no, this thing's happening and they're trying to implant things in us and 5G and blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, shut up. Oh my God. Just if you think about it for 3 seconds, read something about it that's real news, not fake news, you'll be fine. Okay. Yeah. Or you can also just ignore it and get on with your life. It's not affecting you in any way, shape, or form. Let's go. Done. So it's like, yeah, this movie is surprisingly silly and surprisingly deep.
Yeah, and that's what I think about it. It's like it's like it plays around with the sci-fi ideas, and I think, and this is, I think, a criticism I'm going to bring up about the next movie, Minority Report, is that like with this one, it keeps that through line the whole way through, which is just that like there's this insignificance that like of yourselves and Earth and like people just need to make the decisions and handle things as they come. There's a bug here, we got to deal with it. There's everything is so bizarre, but we can just like if you just go with it, then that's okay.
And I also like the fact that they make the aliens seem very like us, like they're strange looking and they're a little squishier and all that kind of stuff and have more arms and everything, but like they still get up every day, and one guy, his wife's pregnant, he's like, I'm taking care of my family, that's what I'm doing, and another guy is just here to have lunch with his friend, like he's just like, we're gonna meet up and have a discussion, I want to be friends, like it's just like they're quote unquote normal, they're just like us. They just look slightly different and come from a little further away instead of like down the block, it's another galaxy. It's fine.
Maybe they drink their entire body weight in coffee and smoke their entire body weight in Marlboros every day.
Exactly.
But like, but you're right. I think that's like the deeply human nature of the aliens, like even when they're weird, is like and that's gets set up really early on with Mikey when they're kind of like palling around talking with him, where it's just like and Mikey's a little bit, maybe he's like in some ways, other than the bug, the most alien, right? Because he goes into that total psychotic rage, like animalistic rage. But at the beginning, he's like, "Oh, come on, officer, can't you cut me a break?" Like, he's just a guy. He's just a guy.
Yeah. He's like, "Look, I just wanted to go over there. Like, why you gotta bust my balls for? Just leave me alone. I'm not doing anything."
Yeah. And that I there was another thing I noticed in the or I paid attention to this time when I was rewatching it, was like when they were hiring him, Jay, right at the beginning, it's like no one actually sees this, but he runs down the cephalopoid, I think they call it, on foot, and that's what Kay says is like the thing that convinced Zed to recruit him over everybody else. He's like, he ran down the cephalopoid on foot. That must count for something. But one of the things we see with Jay is that, like, even though this guy tried to pull a gun on him, ran up the side of a wall, had the weird eye like thing. As soon as he started walking towards the ledge, Jay's just like, no, back off. We can talk about this. Nothing. Don't do anything drastic. Is that like empathy and ability to just accept that, like, oh, this really weird thing, I can just roll with it, and I should treat it with like a little bit of humanity. Is like that I think is what makes Agent J the right candidate.
I agree, because like that extends further on during the recruitment process, where like they're in the shooting range and everybody's shooting at the thing that's clearly weird looking. Like, we're not going to shoot at the little girl because it's a little girl. We're going to shoot at all of the monsters. And, like, he fully explains why he shot the girl and everything he says makes sense, but everybody's looking at him like he's crazy.
Exactly.
And it's because, and he gets chosen, I think, mainly for that. Not really just the cephalopod thing, but I think he gets chosen for that because he can keep his cool. He will analyze the situation. And it doesn't matter how weird shit is. He's like, no, something's weirder about the normal thing. Let's look at the normal thing.
Exactly.
Like he can analyze better.
Yeah, and he doesn't get freaked out just because something looks a little different or is acting a little weird.
Yeah, it's got a couple extra arms, a tail. It's snarling, but he's got a tissue in his hand. As long as it's fine. and especially when you're dealing with aliens, things that would look scary to a normal person. It's necessary to hire someone who can keep their cool, even if something looks like it will eat your face. Like, and
is capable of some lateral thinking. Like in the scene just before, like the whole recruitment scene is absolutely hilarious. Gold, like iconic, and unbelievable. When he shows up and like the little bubble chairs. And then they're all trying to write their little written exams and no one can figure it out. And he takes the table with the loudest screech. And it's just like, hey guys, why aren't we using this? This is
yeah, exactly. It's a perfectly used, like, why are we going through all this trouble? There is a table here. But I also did notice in that scene, which I don't know why I'd never picked up before, but there is like a little like table stand beside him. So there's also that.
That's great. Yeah.
And I was like, what? But my other question on that scene is, what do you think they would have on that written exam though? Like, what's like, is it calculus? Is it essays?
Well, okay. So here's the question. Is it actually a test, or is it just a test to see how they react to taking the test?
Yeah, but they have to have something written on there.
Well, like, sure, but like whatever. It's like, oh, list you all your past experience, write an essay about the, what you learned the most. Like you could put things that are actually useful, or you could put things that just be like normal test bullshit. And really what you're doing is you're observing them in the testing environment, and that's the real test. But.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why everybody else in there, like, I don't think it has to do with their military status or whatever, but when they go to open the test and all of the other people take their pencil, they open it up, opens easy, right?
Yeah.
But for him, he makes a mistake at first and like rips it in half. Fine.
Yeah.
But then his pencil, he goes to like use his pencil and he breaks his pencil on it.
Yeah.
I legitimately
Then he tries to put it back together. Absolutely hilarious.
But I literally think that is done because he's the only one being tested, and they want to test how he is going to react to like something that's supposed to be that easy. Opening a test will make it difficult for you,
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, how do you use your space? How do you do like all of the other stuff?
I like that conspiracy theory that the military folks aren't even aren't even in the running. They're literally just set dressing for his test.
I honestly don't think they are, because if you see everything before, like, because even with the when he asks, he's like, "Why are we here?" And he's like, "They're looking for the best of the best of the best." And he's like, oh, he doesn't even know what's going on. And it's true. He has no idea.
I do love that. It's like Zed says like maybe 2 sentences specifically about that. It starts with, "You're all here because," and then it's like, sorry, maybe I love this movie.
Well, because what Zed says is not a real description of why they're there. Like, you have to be like, "You're here to get hired for a military operation. You're here to get hired for," just because looking for the best of them is not a real answer. And Will Smith knows it. Zed knows it. The other guys, military training, they're like, we just take whatever information they're given to us and look at it, face value. And you're like, nope, you got to think on your feet. You got to, run with it and actually deduce things. So yeah. And that's why they make a joke later on about how they're like, "Yeah, you're exactly what we'd expect for years of military training."
Yeah, I like that. Again, like so many of those jokes, like I think, like, especially for the 90s, which, like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I've seen different things, and like I feel like it was easier for them to be a little bit hokey in movies. Mm-hmm. And so like I was just like, there's no musical stings. There's no, like, it's not shot like a comedy. There's all these hilarious lines that are shot like just straight on deadpan. It's a very like deadpan comedy movie, which I really like about it.
And that's what makes it really funny, because because like a lot of comedies now, like if you say something like that, then there'd be like a musical thing, like back, but that's what's just like, and we continue our conversation. Nobody's noticing anything.
The camera work or like something in the film would be like, "That's a joke. Did you hear our joke?"
Yeah.
And instead it's just like, "Years of military training," and you're like, wait, that could mean 2 things. Was that a joke? I'm not sure. And they just move on past it. Obviously it is a joke, but it's like, it's just a little bit they just leave it on the table, and
it's subtle enough. Yeah. It's that nice level of like dry humor, that's like there's it's not quite British dry humor where you need like a glass of water after.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay. Yeah. I know what you're doing here. This is working for me. Yeah. Oh God, I love this movie. Have you, quick question. I have never, like, I know this is based on a comic book. Have you ever read the original comic book or seen it or anything?
No.
Okay. Yeah, no, me neither. Like, I was watching it today and I was like, I just realized I have never actually like read a Men in Black comic book or even thought about looking for it, which actually makes me feel a little bit worse. But I wonder if the comic book and stuff has that same level of humor to it, or if they like switched it up a little. Like, was it serious and they made it slightly silly, or was it super silly and they made it a little bit more serious? Like,
my recollection from very old information was that it was supposed to be a more serious comic. Like, for whatever reason, and I could be wrong on this, but my impression was that it was a little bit similar to the Mask, right? Where it's like, it's kind of a dark comic, indie comic from the 90s, which for comics was like, it's all about the dark. Yeah. And then they were like, oh, but what if we made it fun? And so anyway, all of that is to say, all I know is that it was a very loose adaptation, rather than like very strict. But I'd be interested to see, like, what elements did they take from the comic book, and which did they like invent whole cloth, and which parts did they like take but then like reimagine so that they might be like either looked at it in different lights or whatever, so
or like what monsters, like what aliens did they like were in the comic book? Did they create new like aliens and stuff? Did they redesign them? Were they actually like going in the alphabet, like Agent J and K and blah 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 blah. It's all that kind of like crazy stuff. But I was actually shocked at myself today. I was like, I have never thought of reading a Men in Black comic book. And I was like, why? This is usually like right in my wheelhouse. I'll go check it out. Like when Hellboy came out, got a couple of Hellboy comic books just to check it out. It's exactly the same kind of humor and stuff in it. It's great. Nice. But yeah, no, I never thought about it with this. So, and it's a Marvel, so technically the X-Men could show up in there. It'd be fun.
There you go. Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's just aliens. It's fine.
They'll join the Avengers next cycle. It'll be good.
The Men in Black show up, like, what?
Yeah. One of the last things, just to go back to the recruitment a little bit, is his whole speech about, like, you chose me, so you recognize the skills. I don't want no one calling me son or sports. I like genuinely use that sometimes to get over like imposter syndrome, where, like, especially when I was starting new jobs and things, I would be like, okay, they chose me, so they must at least understand, like, who they were hiring. They didn't hire somebody else, they hired me. So, like, anyway, I love that quote, and it was genuinely helpful at times for me.
That's good. Whatever inspiration gets you through your day and your imposter syndrome. Yeah, exactly. I find it's one of those, especially with, like, new jobs, or you're doing something new and you're just like, how did I end up here? Right. I don't know what I'm doing. This is crazy. But according to these people, I know what I'm doing. So
somebody else is in this position. They've seen other people learn how to do this role, or they've seen other people, adapt to this stuff, and they have more perspective on it than you, who is, like, brand new to everything and is just like all the time, like, panicking, and you can, like, get over it and be like, okay, am I actually getting it? Are the cues anyway? But it's true.
It's inspiration. It's where you get it.
Yeah.
But also, speaking about being on a job, at the end of the movie, you realize Agent J, that's his second day on the job, and Kay's like, well, you're trained, I'm gonna go now. And I was just like, only 2 days of training for all of this? He's technically only done one job so far, and you're leaving, you're out. Come on, you could give him like a week. Like, give him a week. Come on.
It's the creative thinking and the empathy and all of those things, and we see right after that, when they're getting the hot dog and talking about talking to Dennis Rodman about the Bulls tickets, that he seems pretty confident in the role now that he's grown into it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's generally cocky in the first place.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's an excellent turning point when he realizes that it's the saucers and queens. Like, that's where the bugs are gonna go. Like, that's the first time where the whole, like, fish out of water, oh, there's a weird alien here, oh, it's like, that's when it flips, and suddenly Jay is intelligently understanding the world he's in. That's like, he's, like, putting pieces together. After that, we see him figure out crushing the cockroach gambit, and, like, anyway, it's just you see it's a nice progression on his character.
Yeah, and it's really and the way they set up the information that he uses to get to that point is really interesting as well, because, like, when J and K first meet, when he first goes in there and he's giving him a debrief, and he's like, MIB was started this day, blah, 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 because of these things and whatever. And then later on, when they're, talking to the lady with the Edgar suit, and they're checking the thing, and what was on Final Jeopardy last night, and he's like, but in that sequence, Agent K gives him all of the information he needs to know about the alien.
Exactly.
And so then by the end of the movie, you may forget that, Agent K gave us all that info, and that's how Jay put it together, that me squishing these bugs would piss him off enough to stop him from going places, and also that these are the spaceships that he was going for. It's they like sprinkle all this information throughout so well that it's, like, fantastic.
And it's Jay's ability to take all that in. Like we were saying, it's like he's not overwhelmed by, like, weirdness. He's like, even before he's given all this information, he's able to suss out that Tiffany little Tiffany needed to die because that she was the correct threat. Like he's able to navigate all of this crazy bonkers information that he's being fed and like put it together and make it useful. And that's really cool.
He was definitely the right man for the job, for sure.
Right. And what's crazy is they cram all of that exposition into like 90 minutes. It's so efficient. It's like every scene is like telling something new, driving the plot and the themes forward. It's very cool.
Yeah. And it's without feeling like heavy either. Like you don't even realize you're being fed this info. It doesn't feel like exposition, because like there's lots of movies and stuff, like the one coming up, where they sit down and be like, here's 5 to 10 minutes of me just talking. Here's your info. And it's not built into the story. It's just you saying stuff. Yeah. And you're just like, okay, let's keep going.
Right. And that movie is almost like an hour longer than this one.
It is.
Right. And in a lot of ways, its premise is a lot less bonkers than this one. Right. So the amount of information you have to convey, though, what's great about Men in Black is that they don't need to tell the whole story about the whole universe, about how all of these things work together. They don't have to explain the universal politics of like the Arkelians and the bugs, because the whole point of the story is it's just our small lens on this unknowable, incomprehensible universe. So it's just like, anyway,
they just give us what we need to know without trying to give us too much information. And I think and I also think that's one of the downfalls of some of the sequels, where they're like, no, we're trying to like explain too much. You're like, we don't need all of this. Just tell the story you're going to tell, but you don't need half this stuff that you're trying to tell us. Keep going.
Yeah, that I think is a critical failing. And then the other one I think is also that like they keep trying to go back to that same formula of I've only seen the first 3, to be fair. I haven't seen International, but like the fish out of water, Jay's still got some stuff to learn. It's like, no, I want to see a movie about the Agent J at the end of this movie. I want one who like knows that Dennis Rodman is the alien and is just like confident and is like Kay in terms of knowing all the things. And it's just like doing cool cop stuff in this weird, wacky environment. Also, I want to see what's her name? The mortician as Agent L.
Yeah, I was so mad they never brought her back. Like, I think somewhere in the second one they say she ran off somewhere or whatever. Like, it was just like a bland aside comment. But I was just like, but she was such a cool character. Like, she would have been so awesome in like another movie. And they were just like, no, we just got to bring Agent K back. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah. She was in the cartoon, which I watched as a kid and enjoyed. I haven't gone back and watched it, but it was the 3 of them in the cartoon. Though they made her blonde because I don't know, they decided. I don't know. But
I guess we just have to stop asking questions. Just let them do what they're going to do.
Whatever.
Yeah.
At least, they gave her a role instead of like writing her off on screen like Men in Black 2 did.
Yeah. The thing, Men in Black 2 was so bad. Like, even I will even give Men in Black 3 a pass. I actually enjoy Men in Black 3. It's
fine, but it's just fine.
It's just fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Men in Black 2, you're just like, just throw it out. We don't need any of this. This is all horrible. What are you doing? Like, it just like, I don't even know who came up with like, I mean, I don't even think it's the premise. Like, I actually think the premise that it was like a Twilight Zone show that was based on like a real event and Kay was there and all that kind of stuff. Like, I actually find that interesting. Like, but if they did it well, it would have worked out. But like, who is it? Lara Flynn Boyle is the, lingerie wearing plant alien, and the, what's her name? Rosario Dawson as the emotional alien who works in a pizza shop. Like, I don't like, whatever. Like,
well, and then they just like cranked up the like, the fan favorite aliens from the last one. We need a lot more of them.
Yeah. Which they really didn't.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Oh, remember when it was really cool and funny and unexpected that the pug talked? We better make sure he's in all the movies now. It's like like instead of being like, hey, what if we did something cool and exciting and interesting and a little quirky, like with the dog? They're like, oh, the dog is the thing. We'll just keep doing the dog, which whatever. But the what's I have it written down here. Linda Fiorentino is her name. And
she was. I've only seen her in this and Dogma. Yep. And then I don't remember seeing her in anything else now that I think about it.
Yeah.
She was, I think they were trying to make her like a big thing, and then she just sort of disappeared after a while.
Which is tragic, and I don't know what happened, but like what amazed me again watching this movie is that like she shows up about halfway through, and we've been watching like
she shows up very
right at the beginning, absolutely. Right but like she starts like acting, and then like across from Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith, and she's able to keep up with them. Like like just in terms of charisma and on screen presence and like delivery of lines and stuff. Like obviously like her character is well written and I like her from that too, but like just as an actor, it's like it doesn't feel like she's just added on, but there's a supporting character, but she's just like, oh yeah, me and Will Smith are having this like back and forth rapport, and it's like, oh yeah, she feels like part of the movie instead of just like one of these bit characters. So it was,
like we have to like wedge in this lady somewhere,
right?
She feels part of it.
I love when she like is trying to be subtle when the bug is there, and then when everything goes wrong, she starts yelling at him. It's like, it's just,
like, come on, man.
So anyway, all that to say, like, she should have been in more movies. She would have been fantastic. She clearly was able to do really impressive stuff.
According to her filmography, she was in 30 films.
Mm-hmm.
And Men in Black and Dogma were pretty close to the end of her filmography, but everything else comes across as kind of like weird. I don't know. There's like Body Count and The Last Seduction and Chain of Desire. Like that scene is kind of like, I don't know what that stuff is.
Scorsese movie. I feel like I was watching a little video about YouTube video, the Patrick H. Willems one about Men in Black, and he mentioned there that she was in a Scorsese movie, but
I have no idea which one of these would have been a Scorsese movie.
Yeah. Going to just other cast members, David Cross as the tiny mortician.
He's so good.
He's so hilarious.
It's one small scene, but he's fantastic.
Yeah, and then he gets killed in the ceiling, and it's so good.
He does not get killed. Remember that.
Wow, okay.
We see him again in the second movie. Also, one of the best scenes in the second movie. It's very funny. But he may have also turned into a murderer at the end of that scene, technically, because he gets up to kill his mother, and it's fun.
Right.
But yes, I do like that character. It was great.
Yeah.
And Rip Torn as Zed is also great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just ridiculous.
Absolutely amazing. Just like his delivery about just being like the most, I don't know, like him talking about, the twins keep us on a
37-hour day.
37-hour day, or like Arcturian time or whatever it is. And it's like, and he's just like, oh yeah, you'll get used to it, or you'll have a psychotic break. Just like, again, perfectly deadpan delivery.
Yeah, they don't follow it up. They don't do anything with it. They're just like, and it's in the air. Just let it happen. It's good.
Yeah, the only time he like intentionally tries to tell a joke is the intergalactic kegger thing, and then immediately gets made fun of for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, no, that's not funny anymore. We're good.
Right.
Yeah. No, I do love this movie, and it's one of those things that you yeah, there's a couple of like weird plot holes and things in it, like especially at the end of the movie, which is the thing that always drives me nuts about it, is it's bright daylight, they're back at MIB headquarters, they have an hour to stop to get the galaxy back,
and then it's night,
and it's pitch black outside, and you're just like, it's been more than an hour, I think. Yes, it was according to the thing, it was 52 minutes. They had 8 minutes left when they got there, so
plenty of time.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Galactic Standard Week.
Yeah. Like an hour? That seems I feel like you should have like negotiated how long that would be for Earth,
But again, to go back to it, it's like Earth is insignificant, and so like they get no say in what a week is. They don't get a say in what the
what their day is, yeah,
or what the Arkelian battle cruisers like rules of engagement are, which is the ultimatum, warning shot, and then you have a galactic standard week to respond. Like all of that is just not like, this is the absolute opposite of Star Trek, where Earth is not the center of everything, it is the center of nothing. The Federation, like no one cares, except it's neat that you can go and visit it, and you can hang out there if you want to.
Yes,
get some good pierogi.
I do like the fact that the Arkelians, their message is like, get the galaxy back or you will be destroyed. Sorry. Sorry.
They're
very nice. They're very polite about it. They're
like, also, they don't send it translated.
Yeah.
Translating it, they're like, yeah, we'll talk to it, and it's up to them to translate it.
I mean, I think that's kind of how it works, to be honest.
Right?
Yeah. There's so much stuff in this movie that's great, like the car and the red button and the weird Elvis stuff, how he went back home, so he's still alive somewhere, obviously. The teachers from Venus, but I thought it was really weird. Like, I know they would have done their background on Agent J and everything, but he's like, I swear in grade 3 I had a teacher that was from Venus, and he's like, oh yeah, I know which one. Really?
Yep.
Do you? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. It's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sylvester Stallone is on that screen as well. And Rush Limbaugh, I spotted it. Those were the two I spotted, but there's like a bunch of other people on there that are just like aliens that they're monitoring.
I liked at the end with the Dennis Rodman, he's like, not much of it is described. I'm like, that's about right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The weird ones. I think that's all I have for this movie. I mean, I did realize that this movie takes place in only 3 days, technically, except for like the cold open. We're not talking about that part. It's just like the time we meet Will Smith to the time, he's part of MIB and Kay is going. It's been like 3 days. And you're like, what? That is a crazy ass 3 days.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that. Vincent D'Onofrio as Edgar.
Right. Sorry. That's the,
so good.
Him, like the crazy, just every scene he's in, you're just like, that, but also him as human Edgar, is like, he has about 25 seconds of screen time before he gets killed. And he has, you have to establish that he is the like most hateful, worthless human being on the planet, and he succeeds so well. I love the whole like, I'm not gonna eat this, it's probably poison. And then don't take that away, I'm eating that.
It is poison, isn't it? Yeah. And you're just like, well, because I mean, I think if he came across as like a nice person or someone who didn't deserve to be killed, you'd be spending the whole movie being like, I feel sorry for you. But then, you're just like, as soon as he dies, you're just like, and that's what you get.
Right.
That's what you get, and then like, he's even more evil throughout the whole movie, and then that's what you get. Don't be a dick. Be nice to people. What's wrong?
Don't start nothing. Won't be nothing. And then his wife is also just amazing. What's her name? I thought I wrote it down, but I'm not spotting it immediately. But just her pronunciation of
Siobhan
Edgar.
Fallon Hogan.
Yeah, Siobhan. Yeah, Fallon.
She's one of those like bit actresses that are in like a bunch of things, and every time she's on screen, you're just like, you're really good at this, whatever this is.
Yeah. It's just her again, another deadpan line delivery where it's like Bug D'Onofrio stumbles in and it's like, what was that, Edgar? And it's like, sugar. I've never seen Sugar do that before. Like, what? just that's the line, and then we just move on.
We just keep going. Like, no, I want sugar.
Okay. It's just like, I don't think your truck exploded. I don't think that was sugar. So deadpan, so hilarious.
But also when they go back and interview her as well, and she's talking about she's like, oh yeah, he wanted sugar water, and it was weird because he didn't want lemonade, and he just starts naming off these other things. Not ice water, not soda, blah blah blah. And they're just like, and we're gonna stop this. We're gonna flashy thingy you. We're gonna end this right now. And she really did need a decorator, so it was fine. I like the story they gave her. It works.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like we're wrapping up on a Men in Black and might be moving towards Minority Report, but I think that this was something that maybe I was projecting a little bit, but I was feeling both movies represented in slightly different ways, but the cops in this movie especially are trash. Like Will Smith is obviously like, he's the best of the best of the best, sir.
Yeah.
But like all of the other cops are just like fat and angry and then the cop, she talks about how the chief of police came and interviewed her and just was like laughing at her the whole time. Like at the very least, this woman's husband has gone missing. Anyway,
something has gone wrong. Yeah,
right. But like the whole scene where the like fat police officer is like in the debrief room with Jay, and he's like, "Oh, if you were half the man I was." Like, what are you talking about?
I am half the man that you are. Yeah. And when they're like running to, and he's like, "Yeah, you go ahead. You do your thing. Let him run."
Yeah.
And you're just like, why are you here? You're not even trying to do anything. Like, come on.
And you already said before the line about like Kay demeaning the border patrol officers because they're like protecting us from aliens, but they're just like some people who just like, anyway, it's just I was reading it, I was like, oh, this movie is not kind to any police officers.
No,
and
it doesn't like law enforcement at all. Because like, I mean, they are supposed to be a quote unquote law enforcement, but they're not like cops. They're not here to put people in jail or whatever. They're just supposed to make sure that things run smoothly. And they're not, unless you do something like eat a person or do something really dangerous, these things aren't going in a prison, quote unquote. They are going to be sent home or wherever. So, I mean, I think his overall dislike of the police is that they're not solving anything by just putting people in cages. They're solving things by actually like figuring out what the problem is, listening to people, and then listening to the aliens, and then figuring out the problem, and then making an actual solution to it. Right. And fixing things, which is very hard to be said about law enforcement in any country in the world, really.
But so it's like these are both movies about cops that the framing of the movie is like, cops aren't great. Like, so like it's an interesting thing. It's not like not that other movies aren't like that, but it was just an interesting through line between these two films.
Well, I actually like with Minority Report, I don't even think that they're going on about how cops aren't great. I think they're going on about how it's more along the lines of, how do I put it? Like, because at first, when you first meet, I don't even know what his character's name is in this.
Colin Farrell? Tom.
Tom Cruise, yeah,
Cruise?
John Adderton. Like when you first meet him, cops are great. They are solving crimes. They're stopping them from happening, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as, the system is turned on him, he's like, everything is wrong.
Right.
And
so the other thing is when John Anderton, so this is, I think my argument a little bit is that when John Anderton is on the run, the only person who can like do actual detective work is Colin Farrell. Everybody else is like, I don't know, we don't have a ball yet. What are we supposed to do? Like they're basically like just custodians and bullies. Like you see that when they're searching the apartment complex where he gets his eye surgery.
Oh, with the spiders? Yeah.
Yeah. So they just use their technology and whatever. And then like the Colin Farrell's the one who actually like looks at the evidence, figures things out, and almost realizes what who he needs to arrest. And so it's like that's the good stuff, but just these weird like over militarized basically like garbage collectors are like they're completely useless without their toys. They don't really serve a purpose, or the purpose they serve is bad. Anyway, that was just again like I'm probably bringing more to it than is.
No, I think you're right, because it seems to just be an extension of what's happening right now with cops, and especially in North America, where they keep militarizing them. Like they keep like for some reason cops have tanks. Like I don't like why is this a thing? And it's the same thing.
I was thinking about that specifically when they're chasing Anderson down in the alley and he keeps like messing with their jetpacks and stuff. Like what's good also is that like the special effects in that scene aren't super great.
They're horrible. Like watching that scene, my note was, why does this look so bad?
But I kind of love that, because it's like, why are you using jetpacks? Like people have been arresting other people in alleys for like 500 years. You don't need a jetpack, but instead they're like, no, I've got to use my jetpack. And it's like, I read it. I chose to read that particular element of the text as we gave the cops way too many toys, and now they don't like what would be the functional difference between them just backing off and putting like a dragnet around that block? Like that would be the correct solution, but instead it's like, no, we've got these militarized jetpacks. We gotta like fly around, be an idiot, and then they're useless. Like the more money we throw at the cops, the less effective they become. Anyway. Well,
and I think John uses that against them in that sequence where 100%. He jumps on one dude and he's like, I'm gonna unbuckle you, and then you fall out of it,
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I know if I do this, it's gonna spiral off and go that way. So
right,
do that to you. Like he uses his like knowledge of the equipment and the system to actually, get away and like solve this crime essentially. Right. Yeah.
And he does the really nice thing where he makes sure that his former cop buddy has a good grip on the on the bar before the jetpack goes off.
I think he knows that they're following orders. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And he knows them, and he doesn't want to hurt them or kill them. Right. He just wants not to be captured by them. So 100%. Even if he's putting them in danger, he's like, I'm still going to make sure you're not dying. Like, I want you to live. Yeah.
But also like the beginning of your sentence, right? All they're doing is following orders. They can't think rationally. They're not like they don't have the emotional investment in pre-crime the way that Anderton or his father figure does. I can't remember his name. Mm-hmm. But like they follow it absolutely and unwaveringly, even though that they don't actually believe in it the same way that he does. And it's just it's like they're anyway. I think that there are elements there if you're looking for them, and I clearly was looking for them, that you can string together into a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, so we've touched on it already,
Yeah.
What do you think about the technology in this future? Like, I'm not talking just about like the cops, jetpacks and stuff. Like, we spend most of the time in like the police station, everything. I agree. But like the way they have like their computer screens and like, you know, where they have like the jail thing, which make no sense. You know, the way the like cars are set up and everything. What do you think of this vision of technology of the future?
I think it's like an excellent dystopian thing. Like I love that the like automatic cars, they're super safe, like the on the weird not quite highway thing, you know, that like it turns down and like, they're on a cliff, and like the fact that the cops can commandeer any of those at any time or like remotely. I love that the eye scanning thing is there. Like I had to look this up. It because the movie came out in 2002, but it was shot like I just looked. Yeah, here it says filming took place in March to July 2001. So not only is this like 7 years before the first iPhone, but like we don't even have the Patriot Act yet. Like this is like I thought it was like very prescient, and like now we know what they're doing with facial recognition technology, and like including the more mundane stuff. Like we've seen that people use facial recognition just in malls, like on the kiosks where you can like look at the map, you know, so facial recognition just to track your spending habits, your things like that. So I was like, anyway, so that's my thing. I love the thing. I don't think it's always like it's all like actually gonna happen because it's a sci-fi movie, but I love that's one of the things I love about this movie is like the vision of this like dystopian weird technology stuff. I feel it's very like cyberpunk-esque.
Yeah, it definitely is, because I think you've already touched on it, that our society is moving towards this hyper commercialized consumerist thing where you have all of these like in-depth technologies just to sell things to people, which is half the movie. And so the movie takes place in what, 2054, so only about 30 years from now. And I was sitting there the whole movie going like, that would just annoy the fuck out of me. Like if I walked into the store and be like, "Sup, Tracy? Did you want to try on some pants?" And I'd be like, "What? No, I'm not here for pants." Or like he's pouring cereal. I love cereal, but if I poured cereal and the box sang to me every time I did it, I would also throw the box across the room. Like, this is just, it just seemed horrible and torturous and like overly stimulating, you know, like all of your senses are like attacked constantly, because it's
and
not
that's
even
before social media, which like is like we're choosing to constantly, you know, bombard ourselves with just like, you know, people's random hot takes.
It's like, and the thing is, it's just all these random like invisible screens that are projected in front of your face all the time, and you can't even like get away from it even if you want to, you know. It's just seems like a lot.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of that the Black Mirror episode with Daniel Kaluuya. I can't remember what it's called. It's the 10,000 credits or something. Where I don't know if you've seen it, but okay, you haven't seen it.
No, I haven't
anyway,
seen it. No.
He lives in a very similar society. Ads are blasted at him constantly, but he can pay to have them not like, so if you every time you try to close the ad, so this is not part of Minority Report, but you can imagine it showing up is like, oh, you don't like that your cereal talks at you all the time? Just pay a small fee every month, and you can skip the ads on the front of your cereal, right?
It's another level of like ad blocker and you know, freemium kind of things. We're like, get this thing for free, but it'll torture you all the time. But you can pay us not to torture you.
And isn't that really nice of us to offer that option?
It's so horrible.
Society's going downhill, and nothing's ever going to get better.
Yeah, true. No, yes, I agree. I have nothing against what you just said. That's where we're going. Yeah. Because I mean, technically a capitalist society I don't technically have anything against capitalism. I like
I
buying
do, but that's
stuff.
fine.
I like having stuff, whatever. But do I think poor people should be extremely poor and should be stay in a gutter? No. And two, do I think it's okay to be bombarded with advertisements and be scared and be told if you don't have the thing, you're not good enough? No. But if I work and I'm like, I want a thing and I can get it, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And there are other societies where you can like buy things you need or like, while also simultaneously not like just constantly shovel money to people who already have an enormous amount of capital. But I think that that's probably different. That's for outside the scope of Minority Report. And what
I'm trying to think of like, where is this magical place you're talking about? It's I think no matter where you are in the world, if you buy something, unless it's like some dude on a corner who made a thing and you handed it to them.
Oh yeah.
Like you're giving money to people. You're giving.
I'm not saying you're not giving money to people. What I'm saying is that like anyway, things like private ownership of like from a corporation of a massive amount of real estate, so that either they're just act as landlords, which is providing no benefit to society. They're just siphoning off some of that money and keeping people out of those houses. Like, why did the fact that they were able to put a bunch of investment money together and buy those houses? Well, why should that allow them to regulate who gets to live or how much money that they get to charge for those houses?
Yeah. And again, as you know, that's a huge problem right now. Yeah,
it's a huge problem. And so that doesn't preclude, like, a society could exist that didn't have that, but also had 3 different brands of toothpaste that you could choose from, like, I feel like it's not one or the other. But again, this is Minority Report's also not just about the commercialism, but also literally putting people in jail for what they might do, which again, it was shot entirely before 9/11, but was super relevant when it came out.
Well, I mean, it is based on a Philip K. Dick short story / novella, which would have been written, in the 60s,
I think I looked it up, it was the 50s.
Yeah. So, I mean, I read that story / I read like a book version of it.
Yeah.
But this was literally when I worked in a bookstore, which was like over 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And like most of the story is there. It is about like precogs and all that kind of stuff. They just filled in a lot more stuff in this movie, obviously, because,
right.
I mean, even if they filmed like a minute a page of that book, it would still be shorter than this.
Yeah.
But like most of the story was there. And the fact that he was coming up with this kind of stuff in the 50s and it's so relevant when this movie came out and is even more relevant now, makes you think how far ahead his mind was. Because, I mean, like, so this is the 3rd Philip K. Dick property we have talked about on this podcast, because I also talked Blade Runner, which is based on his Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which pretty much have the book and the movie have almost nothing to do with each other. There's Deckard and replicants, and that's about it. That's the same. It's fine. And then there's A Scanner Darkly, which is a book I've tried to read like 8 times. Can't read it. But the movie is quite fantastic. And you watch that stuff now, the dystopia and the downfall of the society, how cops treat people or people who they still don't view as people, or, trying to, drugs and things like that. It just, it blows my mind how he thought about this so long ago, and it's still relevant, and it's seemingly getting closer to that. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit like the Simpsons thing, where it's like, it's not so much that they were able to predict the future, it's that the problems that existed back then just continued to be the same problems and just get worse and worse. So it's like, it is prescient in one way, but also it's just like, man, people were warning us in the 50s that this would happen, and we're like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Let's do that. That's awesome.
I can't wait till we live in a totalitarian state where people are arrested for possible futures.
Yeah, because I mean, they do bring it up in the movie where they're just like, look, these people haven't done anything, but they're gonna do something, right? And the whole idea is that, especially with like crimes of passion and stuff, like I think with premeditation, even now, if you premeditate, like you make a plan and somebody stops you from going through with that plan, you can get arrested because you've already started the motions of the crime. Right. Mm-hmm. But especially with things that are like crimes of passion, which are things that are in the moment, all you have to do is like get in the situation, separate the people, de-escalate, and you're good to go. Like, I don't see what the big deal is, you know?
Yeah.
So, but that's me.
In my notes, I have one of my favorite Simpsons quotes, which is the attempted murder. Honestly, what is that? Do they give a Nobel Prizes for attempted chemistry? It's just like, you know.
It's true.
They bring that up a little bit with the like rolling the ball, and Colin Farrell catches it. It's like, oh, it absolutely was going to fall. Nothing would have changed that except your intervention. Therefore, like, you know, the inevitability, they play around with it a little bit. But one of the things that kind of bugs me about this movie is that it doesn't keep that question in the solution to the problem. It ends up being just the old guy was able to exploit like this weird bug in the system, but otherwise it would have been fine. So it's all a bunch of like I get that.
I do have a weird question about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because according to the movie, how the system works is that if there's a premeditated crime going to happen, the precogs get a vision of it about 4 days before it's supposed to happen, right? And then they get like the brown ball, and one is the victim and one is the criminal, right? Now, if it's a crime of passion, they have minutes, maybe half an hour, before they know, you know, but they get the name, and it's a red ball. They get the name of the victim and the criminal. Fine. But within the movie, so he says there's a glitch, right? Because sometimes the precogs get an echo.
Yep.
Okay. So if the crimes they're right after, like if they happen right after each other and they look the same, they might be like, oh, it's the same thing. Get rid of it.
Right.
Okay. But there's a problem with that, because even with an echo, another ball would be put out and there would be two people listed as the criminal.
It doesn't list the criminal. It only lists the victim. So they both. I agree with you that there probably should be two balls, but they should both say Anne Lively, because it's always the
no, but there is a criminal ball, because that's how they know. So when John Adderton he gets a ball at some point, doesn't he?
Oh, there's two balls. You're right.
Yeah.
One goes
one way and one goes the other way.
No, you're totally right.
So there would have been two criminal quote unquote balls 4 days before, because what's his name? His name is, he's got a black guy name. He's got Lamar Burgess. He's the director dude. Yeah. So he premeditates all of this. So to me, you're breaking, it's not a glitch. You are breaking whatever you're doing, the rules of the system, right? Because the only way that would actually work is that if he showed up there and then it wasn't premeditated, it was like spur of the moment, like she said something and he was like, what? And killed her, fine. But also that's like a red ball showing up. So to me, it doesn't, like, they broke their own system within the movie. Like, they're not following their own rules.
And I think that, like, you're right. Like, I think that now that you're pointing that out to me, it absolutely should have happened the way that you're describing it. And they are breaking their own rules. But I think that, like, the intention of the movie, and I don't think it does this especially well, but I think that the idea is that even in a perfect system, the like levers of power, the humans in charge of that system will exploit it for their own ends, right? So like,
Colin Farrell's character brings that up at one point in time. He's like, there's always a flaw in the system, and it's usually human. Like I think that's pretty much what he says. And that's why he looks so hard into John Adderton, because he thinks, because he has so much control over the system, he thinks he's abusing it, where it's even higher than that.
Is the abuser. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but also that also creates a weird paradox within this, because so the thing is that he would not have gone to look for this Leo Crow character, the guy he's supposed to kill, if the ball didn't happen, right? Yep. So my question is, what something before that must have triggered that happening at some point in time? Because to me, it doesn't make it's a like he would have had to know something. It's a chicken and the egg thing. Yeah. It's a classic, like, future paradox is like if you didn't, it's kind of the opposite, because they talk at the end, right? Is that like all these people, if they, instead of just being arrested and haloed for some reason, if they had been instead told, we have seen a future where you kill this person, then they have a choice whether to follow through with that death or not. Mm-hmm. And so this is like the reverse of that, where it's like if he wasn't told he was going to kill this person, would he have even killed him in the first place? Like it's the act of seeing into the future changes the future both ways. It's like exactly. I think that's absolutely true. Yeah, and that's why I think the people that are, caught in crimes of passion should not have been haloed and put in jail, because they really didn't do anything. They didn't. Huh. It's like it's an accident. It's like tripping over a rock. Like if you were told the rock is there, you're not gonna trip over it, right? So if you stop them, right, and be like, hey, there is a rock, and they're like, oh, thank you, step over, it would have been fine. And it's the same thing with, like, especially like the murder at the beginning, the one that you show, where they show why it happens. Like the husband is suspicious, there's the guy across the street, the wife is being weird, and he decides, to stake out what's going on. And then it is a crime of passion. Like he has the scissors in his hand because he was cleaning up with the kids downstairs and blah blah blah. And you see the progression to it. But as soon as they come through the windows, which also I thought was overkill. Exactly. They're ridiculously over militarized cops. Yeah, because they didn't need to break all of their windows. Because John stops him, right? Yeah. Then they come through the windows, they throw the would-be victims on the floor and like hold them down. They throw that guy on the bed, they start yelling and screaming at them. And that's when they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, this guy's gonna kill you. So what? Not only the trauma of them blasting through, but they're like, your husband was about to murder you. This is like, by the way, we're taking him away, so no more marriage for you. Like, I hope you have a fun chat with your kid when he gets home from school. Seriously, like it just was just so, like, it went from a correct level, like him running in and like stopping the dude. Fine, that's a good level. Just walking behind him and be like, "What's up?" No, the rest of the stuff was just like crazy. I also like, because you at first you think that that first investigation, it's just like it's paced like a thriller, right? It's like, oh, we got to catch him before it happens. Blah 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 blah. It's so close, but then like later in the movie, we start learning that the idea of anybody successfully murdering anybody in DC would start to throw questions around pre-crime. So they're like, this could not happen. And the fact that it was so close to happening, and like if that's their normal operating procedure before their chief gets, on the lam, has to run on the lam, like
that is a shaky system. That is not a sustainable process.
Yeah.
And so like I again, I don't know if this was intended, but I chose to view that first thing as like showing, oh, the process that they've set up, even when it's working right, is kind of a disaster. Like
Yes.
it keeps working out because maybe John Anderton's just really fast at running and he's able to figure out that there's a merry-go-round there, right? But otherwise, this would just have gone ahead and they would have been like way too late. And that's fine, because then he would have potentially actually murdered somebody, and then he could be arrested for murder, and it would suck that for those people to have been murdered. But like the idea that they're like, what if they did get the wrong house and they smashed through the windows and like haul all these people away? Like, anyway, it's just
and I think that's one of the biggest problems with this whole thing. And I think that's also part of the point of it is like, predetermining someone's guilt before they've done anything is stupid. Like it doesn't make any sense. There's no real reason to arrest them. There's no real reason to, have them in jail. They haven't done anything wrong. And especially with the crimes of passion, which is the first thing that they show us, like with the system working and why it's so hectic. It just kind of like blows my mind. And also the fact that like, even with the whole John Anderton thing, you're telling me, like, I know this has been around for 6 years and there's been no murders in DC since the system has been set in, but you're telling me there is nobody in DC, where the political hub of the world, where shady shit goes on constantly, there's no other balls coming through that thing for other detectives to be looking at? No?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Whatever. Yeah.
And I mean, they do a little bit of a nod where it's just like, oh, no murders. Like, people have gotten the message. Like, oh, people don't murder anymore because we'll arrest them beforehand. And the sea of people that are haloed. I love whatever his name is, the caretaker there.
Yeah.
And he's like
creepy.
He's so good.
He's doing dirty things to them at night.
Yeah.
Like,
he's Looking Glass in the HBO Watchmen show.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, he's got the mirrored like masky thing. Yes.
Yeah, and he's in Oh Brother Where Art Thou. Anyway, he's great. But yeah, he is such a total slime ball, which is great because we could compare him to like the weird like mind brothel guy who is like the cuddliest underworld overlord.
You're like, you're so fun and charismatic. We're gonna make it happen for you. Yay.
Exactly.
Really? Yeah. Okay, sure. But okay, so can I talk about the caretaker scene, the first one, where he's looking for the
Anne Lively or whatever.
Yeah. Is it just me, or was that scene like ridiculous? Like it was ridiculous.
I mean, you're gonna have to narrow down because again, this involves cops on jetpacks.
Okay, so he goes in to see the caretaker.
Yeah.
And the caretaker's like, well, we have to go to the guy who killed the girl to find the video thing from the precogs, right? So they go, and he's like, we've got to go in for a trip. So they go into the thing, and they've got like an arm that kind of like spins around for some reason. But then all of the prisoners are going up and down like it's a wave.
Yeah.
But why? Shouldn't you just be like, shouldn't they just all be in the ground and go over and
it's
the
glorious.
Comes up? Like,
that's why.
I was so annoyed. I was like, this doesn't make Well, I tell you the truth, the whole thing is convoluted. Like, I know they want it to be like later on they come up with this whole thing, but they're like, so the precogs are in this pit with the creepy dude who loves them. And then when they see things, they have a cube of a ball that is then made into a spear, which is then, has the name printed on it. And it's also varnished. And then it goes down the thing. And then they read it. And then they got to find who it is. And I was just like, oh my God, are you, what? You're telling me you don't have a dot matrix printer that could just blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing.
Yeah, the weird line about like, oh, it's because the wood grain is unique, it's impossible to forge. I was like, okay, that's some 50s, novelization stuff.
Yeah.
But also, the when I heard that again, I was just like, oh, so somebody right now is trying to put this on the blockchain. Every red ball is a unique NFT that people can like monetize about whether they're going to get caught in time or not.
Well, but my thing is like, they don't seem to keep the balls anyway, right? So, and second of all, who's to stop somebody from just like making a ball somewhere? Like, it's unique grain, it's fine. It's the same as printing it on a piece of paper.
It's totally bonkers, yeah.
Like the whole thing, like that whole sequence, because they go right from there to the prison to then the wave of the prisoners and stuff. And I was just like, you guys are just
I love it. I love it.
God, it's too much.
It's all atmosphere. It's so good.
I also didn't realize Spielberg himself directed this one, and I was just like,
and he was the executive producer on Men in Black.
He was, yes. But I was very frustrated by all of the unnecessary stuff in Minority Report. And I think
the reason I watched this movie is for the unnecessary stuff. Like, I think that the movie itself has like all these flaws, but just the world building, the nonsense. Anyway, that's one of the reasons why I love it, is that it's like when he runs away and he goes to the mother of pre-crime, and she just has like a sentient plant like arboretum for no reason. It's like
no reason.
Of course, this is awesome. It's so cool. Like,
And again, then it leads into one of those scenes where it's just pure exposition for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
She's just like, this is everything. And she just like talks for 5 minutes straight. You're just like,
yeah.
Really? You're not even going to try to like build this into the story in a better way? Like, come on.
Yeah. And she gets to kiss Tom Cruise.
For no reason. I was like, is it just because you're lonely with the plants? Like,
or she's like, the actress is like, well, I'm never going to get this opportunity again.
We're this close, just,
Exactly.
A little bit more.
This is before the Oprah couch thing, I think. So like Tom Cruise was still like, less tarnished Tom Cruise, let's say.
Yes, less tarnished Tom Cruise. And there's also the scene where they're in like the car factory.
Yes, it's just 90% empty barrels.
Yeah, and you're just like, what is happening?
Plastic barrels bouncing around.
But the other thing that I thought was hilarious about it is that, like, at the end of the factory line, you could just drive the car out somehow.
So good.
Because it's made with keys in it or something. He
gets the car built around him and he just sits up. Yeah. It's so good. See,
and then show his eyes, he's like, I'm still alive.
Yeah. But also in the middle of that scene where, because all of his future cops are chasing him, but that's the first time we see Colin Farrell like in the field, and he's still wearing his like suspenders, and he's like just a pure noir cop. He's got like pomade in his hair, and he's got like prayer beads, and he's just like, he looks like he's straight out of the 50s. It's great.
Well, and what's good about him is that he's also the person who is not about all of that technology either. So he doesn't have the jetpack on, doesn't have a fancy gun. He full on fisticuffs with him.
Right.
And you're just like, I'm gonna just punch the shit out of you. We're gonna make this work. This is how it's gonna go. Yeah.
And he has one of my favorite lines in the movie, which is at the end, and I think about it a lot in like when I'm watching cop procedural shows, or there's a great podcast called You're Wrong About that talks about like media portrayals of crime versus reality. And he's like, so I worked first he says, I think he was
he was in Seminole School.
He was a Seminole School, but then he was like a homicide cop for like 10 years or something before he
even though he looks like he's 25 or something.
He is like, 25. What? I looked him up. In 2001, Colin Farrell's like 25 years old. But anyway, like he's like, so what we would call this in homicide was an orgy of evidence. And then it's like, you know how many orgies I saw when in my however many years it was? 0. This is total bullshit. This doesn't happen. Like, oh, I'm a serial murderer, so I'm just gonna take all of my careful photographs and lay them out on the bed in a very expressive way, just so that everybody knows I'm super guilty.
Yeah.
It's just and like again, he's capable of thinking critically where everybody else is just like, I don't know, you tell us where to go and we jetpack there and punch everybody. Like,
well, it's like, as you said, in procedurals it's the same thing. It's always like, in the first scene of like every procedural, when the cop shows up, the cop's like, well, this is what happens,
right?
They're like, well, there's a broken glass and you know, Steve's over here. You're like, yeah, but did you notice the 35 other things in the room that could make it something different? They're like, oh, you do that, I'm gonna
right.
Yeah.
And the criminal is always like, you got me, I'm gonna run away, you better shoot me, so there's no trial. Anyway, that's how CSI usually ends. Or what's the other one? Criminal Minds, or
Criminal Minds, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to stop watching Criminal Minds because I was just like, this is just getting awful. Like I always like, I do enjoy a good procedural. I'm sorry, they're pretty entertaining, and half the time.
Oh, absolutely, and they're like, the formula is so comfortable, and it's fantastic. No, I watched the hell out of it.
And half the time I watch it, I'm like, it'd never go like that. That's illegal. What you're doing? Did you just punch somebody in your custody? That's also illegal. Blah blah blah. You know. Yeah. And you're just like, well, yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you saw very recently. There was I can't remember what spawned it, but one of the actresses who used to be on SVU was talking about how, like, the portrayal of cops having sympathy for those victims would just set up an unrealistic expectation. Was just like, you think they'll listen to you and be like, oh, let's learn more about your life so that we can solve your problem. It's like, no, that's not actually how most cops treating those kinds of crimes.
Yeah, they usually victim blamers are like, what were you wearing? Right. Why were you walking home by yourself? You know, blah blah blah. Like, there's actually like a case the other day where somebody was assaulted and they're just like, don't go on the subway alone, essentially is what they said. And they were like, this is your fault. Why were you on the subway by yourself? And you're just like, what does that mean?
What the hell?
What does that? And it wasn't even something that was at like 2 a.m. or anything. It was like 4 p.m. You're just like, why is this what you're telling a victim of a crime? Like, no. It should have been like, well, what does the person look like? What did they do to you? Give us some evidence. Let's go hunt this person down. Not like everything is your fault. Yeah. So for being a woman and being in public alone, that's what you get.
How dare you? Yeah.
Ugh, it was so disgusting.
Yeah, it's not our job to, I don't know, police the city. Instead, you should just stop making yourselves victims, and then we would have nothing to do. You know, wear clothing that you're comfortable in, go outside by yourself, try to have a good day. This is all your fault. Yeah. It's pretty sad, actually, that it's still, the system is still that way, you know. But unless but the problem is too, is that they're not enforcing changes. They're not actually trying to change things. And, you know, and the few people who do try to change stuff, they get kicked out of the system really quickly because they're not cooperating or they're not part of the blue or whatever. And it's all, there's so many stories like that. So, you know, so, and this movie obviously highlights it. Though there's an excellent scene, not directly, they talk about actually incarceration a lot, but the other scene that I just absolutely love in this movie is the eye surgery, is like the whole sequence of events from when he arrives at the thing all the way through to when he has to chase his eyeball that's rolling down the hallway and catches it at the last minute, is like, it's genius. I love everything about it. I love Peter Stormare always plays the grossest, creepiest / coolest characters, and you're just like,
ew, but you're also awesome. Like,
Yeah.
what is this feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And I do feel sorry for John because he obviously thinks that that character did him wrong. He's like, I left you garbage. Like,
Right.
no, there's a real sandwich and real milk and everything in there for you.
And it's so funny because he talks about all this intimidating stuff because like John Anderton put him away and like he was traumatized in jail and all this stuff. And then it's like, oh, and also he makes a comment where it's like, oh, this actually isn't that much money. Like all of these things, and then he just like does his job and tries to treat him right.
He's a professional.
Yeah, it's very it's very interesting. I liked it. But
well, based on that scene too, like you glean that he was a plastic surgeon, and when people were under, he used to set them on fire for fun and then fix it.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't feel bad that he went to jail personally.
No, but it's crazy that he didn't do anything to John Anderton while he was under, other than give him some Japanese person's eyes.
Yes.
Yakamoto or whatever.
But that scene was great. Like I love that whole thing because, and especially like the weird Russian nurse too, who comes in, and I'm like, what?
I noticed she flushes the toilet and then we don't hear any washing of hands. But that's right after he like blows all the snot out of his nose, and he's just like, don't worry about it. The amount of antibiotics will be pumping you with, there's no possible way you'll get it.
Yeah, he's not gonna get and it's just so goopy. That whole sequence. It's so wrong.
Don't scratch. Never scratch.
Or you will go blind. But yeah, like that whole
and then like while he's under, the spiders are going, and we have that amazing shot above the different apartments. So we're seeing into all the different apartments, and like there's like a domestic fight going on, and they just both pause to get scanned and then just continue the fight without everything. There's two people having sex who just pause to get scanned, and then like afterwards the lady is rightfully like mad that they terrorized her kids for no reason, and like again, it's another example of like the cops just kind of coming in and being like assholes to everybody. Like he's the guy's just like, let's use 8 spiders so that we can get out early and I can go get something to eat,
they don't really care about the people they're supposed to be protecting, and that's the biggest problem with the cops.
So one thing I think it's a little reductive, but I've liked its framing, which is cyberpunk versus like kind of transhumanism or in future. So like Star Trek's more of like the transhumanist kind of we evolve beyond money, all this stuff, and cyberpunk. So the idea is that like transhumanism is like where technology allows us to grow and change and be and solve a lot of our human problems, and cyberpunk is technology continues to grow and change, but we stay like we just get new problems. Like it's just humanity some more, right? Like we're still petty and monstrous and cruel to each other. It's just we do it with high tech spiders instead of like clubs.
I mean, you brought it up, so I'm going to continue this. You brought up Star Trek, but even in the Star Trek world, it wasn't until we made first contact with aliens that we did
absolutely
go above that, right? Because it's brought up in like the first episode of Next Generation and all that kind of stuff, where and even in like DS9 where they go back to 21 no, it was earlier than that. What episode is that where there's like riots in like San Francisco and stuff, and they have people in like the ghettos and everything, and they're literally are just like, well, why didn't they just help everybody? You have enough resources. I'm like, well, because of money. You're like, what's money? And until the human race sort of like banded together and realized they were small, that's when they were just like, oh, we don't really need this. Okay, fine,
Right.
whatever. And then they got on with it. And I think until something like that bans all of the human race together happens, we're gonna go to dystopia. Like that's just what cyberpunk dystopia is gonna happen.
Exactly. And Men in Black's thesis is that learning that aliens exist would not be the unifying events that we need to bring us all together. In fact, it would make us a lot worse, and people would panic and do all this thing, right? It's like that's why aliens have made first contact in Men in Black, and they're like, oh, we can't tell humans about this. Humans will be dumb.
Well, that also happened with, like, if you think of movies like District 9, where they mistreated aliens, essentially, where they're like, no, you guys are like refugees. You guys can sit in like a hole in the corner, and we're going to treat you like what you are. You're not from here. We don't like you, blah, blah, blah. I think that's the
cat food.
Yeah, and that's the kind of fear mongering, I think, is what the Men in Black world is trying to not have.
Right.
But then there was also like a TV show, like a buddy cop TV show, where one was an alien and one was like a human. Oh my god, what was that show called?
I know there was one with a
Alien Nation.
Robot. Oh, there we go.
Alien Nation. It was on from 89. Really, there was only like 2 seasons. I could have sworn there was a lot more. Anyways, but what happened was essentially District 9 happened. So like these aliens came, they couldn't leave, they were seeking refuge, but they managed to be allowed to integrate into human society kind of thing.
Right.
But of course, humans are racists and all that kind of stuff. So they're mean and whatever. But then they started having like the aliens part of like the policing system, and so they understand each other's culture and language and all that kind of stuff. And so, and like there's some humor in it, but it was clearly like a procedural. It was the same, it had the same problems as procedurals did. But I think a lot of these TV shows like try to kind of push away from aliens are scary to aliens are just like us kind of thing. But it depends on what side of the fence that you're on, And but like this was one of those shows where they're like, no, we're gonna tell the whole human race, or the whole human race is gonna know that there are aliens. And it does, of course, it doesn't go well. And I think that's what the Men in Black people were like, let's kind of avoid that part of it. I gotta watch that show actually.
So we brought up Star Trek. Are there Star Trek links in these films? There are 2 sci-fi films from around like late 90s, early aughts. Like who's in Star Trek?
Who's it? Oh, that is a good question. I did not look. Is it that guy in Star Trek?
The crossover?
The guy with the face.
Oh, yeah, the face guy.
Yeah.
Wait, which face guy? Tony Shalhoub?
Oh, yes. No, yeah, because he plays Waxana Troy's guy. Ashate or whatever you want to call him. The guy who played like Lurch and stuff. The guy who comes and goes to lunch with the King dude. Yeah. His real name is Farrell Steer.
Yeah,
him.
He's in tons of sci-fi stuff because he just looks kind of like an alien.
Exactly. So he's in a bunch of stuff. And I think okay, no. Well, there's a bunch of X-Files references that I picked up immediately.
Yeah.
Because like Tony Shalhoub, and then they talk about I know they talk about Jeopardy, but Alex Trebek was in the X-Files, so as a Men in Black. So it's
I did not
whole
know
thing.
That. It all comes.
Yeah, it was circle. It was him and Jesse Ventura were the Men in Black in the X-Files.
That's delightful.
Yeah, and Tony Shalhoub was in another episode where he was a scientist and he got like zapped with something, and then his shadow turns into a black hole and people keep falling into it and dying. So that was Tony Shalhoub. I wonder if Rip Torn was in Star Trek. Ooh, no, he was not. Well, I don't know. Off the faces alone, that's the only one I'm thinking of.
I think that's still fair enough. There's always got to be one.
In Minority Report, Jessica Capshaw was in this? I don't know what character that is. Let's see. Hold on. Actually, now that I think about it, it might be Stormare.
I don't know who that is.
Creepy doctor dude.
Okay. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. Who's in Fargo?
Yes.
Somebody threw a wood chipper.
I was wrong. It's not him. There's definitely got to be somebody in there. This cast is too big for there not to be someone. Wait, wasn't he in the movies? No, of course he was in Star Wars. Thinking the wrong thing. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Nothing by their faces, nothing's coming to mind immediately.
Oh, fair enough.
But at least I got one. That works.
Yeah. Always impressive.
Yeah. Like I said, people don't believe me, but almost like all of these movies, there is a Star Trek connection because there's so much Star Trek out there. People talk about like, oh, there's so much Star Wars and there's so much this and there's so much that. Like, there is a crap ton of Star Trek stuff. It is crazy.
Oh, I got one. Fletcher, the blonde, like second in command cop of Anderton's team. He's Lieutenant Hawk from First Contact.
Oh, that's right. He gets turned into the Borg when they're trying to stop them from getting the thing up. Yes. Okay. Yeah, he's in the movie with Adam Scott. There you go.
Wait, Adam Scott's in First Contact?
Yes. I think it's First Contact, but Adam Scott is in Star Trek.
That's amazing.
I'm 90% sure it's First Contact. Yes, he's on the helm. Yes, he is. He's on the battle bridge when they separate. There you go. I remember. Don't worry. Sometimes it takes a second, but I get there. I remember. It's okay. Defiant
Con Officer is Adam Scott's what Adam Scott is billed as.
Oh, okay. It is in First Contact though, right?
Adam Scott is in First Contact. That's a Defiant Con Officer. Yes.
So in First Contact, Worf would already be on DS9, and they're in the middle of a battle, and Adam Scott is his helmsman. Is that what it is? I think that's what it is. Yes.
Right. The Defiant is the name of a ship. I thought he was like, he gave Picard some lip or something. Like he was a Defiant officer. No, he was an officer on the Defiant.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm way out of my depth here.
I'm a giant dork. Yes.
No,
the funny thing is that until I started doing this podcast, I didn't realize how much I knew about Star Trek because
I don't understand that. Having known you, and that's basically all you talk about.
Well, now, yes, because people know, and then they're like Star Trek this and Star Trek that, and I just kind of go along with
you and Sean. Yeah.
I always knew I was a fan. I liked the show, I liked the content, but to me, my favorite show is the X-Files, which it has a lot less content in it. So It doesn't cross over as much. So I don't get to talk about it. But on the very first episode of the show, you, sir, brought up, the Star Trek episode. And because of the 1984 torture scene, blah, 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 there are four lights. And then from that day on, every episode, Star Trek comes up at some point. It is not always my fault, though. So
no, it's my fault, it sounds like. It sounds in fact like maybe I'm the one who made this podcast great. So by setting that precedent.
Yes, indeed. I literally think I can count on my hand episodes that do not bring up Star Trek at any point in time.
I make a note to bring it up every time because
I know you do. Yeah, there's quite a few people who like actively avoid it, but it still ends up coming up at some point. It's fine.
Jimmy.
But yes, so we did it. We found the Star Trek connection.
We did it
in both movies. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, I think I'm out of things to say about these movies though. But
at one point in time, that's the other thing. When he wakes up from his like drug-induced sleep or whatever after surgery, Cops is on TV. Like, yeah.
Which it wasn't canceled until 15 years after this movie, but 35 years before it's set or something.
Something like that.
Yeah. But yeah,
I just wanted to bring that one up. That was it.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
That's great. Yeah, on the multi-screen like wall TVs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would also think they're like their holographic technology. Like, yes, they're using like the multi-lens projection and everything, which is great, but it looks really shitty. Like, it looks really bad. Like, they gotta fix that stuff, man.
Are you saying this dystopian capitalist society just doesn't have enough appreciation for aesthetics?
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah. So those cars, they're pretty sweet. I would like a car that looks like that.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
I didn't. Like a motorcycle.
They were a little too lumpy.
They do kind of look like a dick, so maybe that's enough. Fair enough.
Yes. Yeah. So then, final thoughts. Like, do you still recommend these movies?
Absolutely, 100%. I would always take an opportunity to watch either of them. Men in Black, like, zero question, because it's 90 minutes and it's a fantastic ride the whole way. But for me, Minority Report's also awesome because it's just like, cyberpunk's in everybody's making a big deal about the cyberpunk video game, but like here's like a cyberpunk full universe, fully realized, and it's incredible to see what like 21 years ago they were putting in, and they knew the slippery slope we were already on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it just gets slipperier. That's a word, right? Slipperier? Yes.
Absolutely.
We're gonna slip and slide downhill. That's it. We're just accepting it these days.
We're on the slip and slide to hell.
Yeah. Screw the highway. Slip and slide it is. Whee!
Yeah. Yeah.
I absolutely agree with your final thoughts. To be honest, I think Minority Report is a little too long for my liking. So, but I mean, I think it's still worth a watch.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on this week for a little chit chat and nerdity.
Thanks for having me and letting me bring Star Trek into the mix.
Thank you also for letting me talk about Star Trek, because I get right into it. It's fine.
I do.
Yes.
It's great.
I also got to bring up X-Files this time, so I was very happy about that too. Woohoo! Yeah, they make what did I say? 2 Alex Trebek references, and yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah. Well, that's it for this episode of Off My Shelf. Until next time, you can follow along on Instagram and Twitter at ohmyshelf, or send an email to ohmyshelf@gmail.com. On the next episode, we'll be talking monsters with Monster Squad and Monsters Inc. Hope you'll be here to listen.